Welcome to the annual Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame induction dinner. Thank you all for being here tonight. We know that food is starting to smell good, so we're not going to keep you for too long, but we have some introductions and some things we want to do off the get-go. So to get us going tonight, please give a big welcome to the board director of the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame, Darrell Christensen.
All right. Well, thanks a lot, Paul, and thank you everyone for joining us this evening. Maybe we can get the people to turn the house music down as we get going on our program. That'd be great. Again, thanks for your patience as we were just figuring out a few of our last-minute ticket snafus, but we've got everybody seated and together, and that's great. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Darrell Christensen, and I'm the board chair with the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame, and we want to welcome you to our 2019 induction banquet to recognize our Hall of Fame inductees and our sports persons of the year. We're pleased to see all of our honorees, as well as the family, friends, teammates, fellow competitors that are here to celebrate with them tonight. We hope that this evening is a source of immense pride and celebration, as well as a chance to reconnect with old friends and to share some memories from those days gone by. So each year the board selects a sport as the theme for the evening, and this year Judo is a worthy choice. As you know, Lethbridge's Judo history is rich and storied, and we're really pleased to have Tim Takahashi here as our guest speaker to share his perspective on that with us tonight. Once again, our selection committee had the difficult task of choosing athletes, builders, teams, and special awards from a list of talented locals from a wide variety of sports. This year's class of inductees is exemplary not only for their sporting accomplishments, but their dedication to the development of sport in our community. And so this night is for all of you, and so please enjoy a great meal and some great friendship and stories and celebrate your accomplishments. The Sports Hall of Fame, we really look forward to the completion of our permanent site, if you're not aware of that, at the new ATB Center in West Lethbridge in the coming year. And it's going to make it possible for us to share all of these great accomplishments along with memorabilia and some other things with people all year round. So we're really excited about that. And so Colin Zip, I'd just like Colin to give a wave over there. He's an artist from Winnipeg. He has ties to Lethbridge through a master's degree at the U of L in Fine Arts. And he was selected to develop the vision and create our new permanent site. And he's been in town the last couple of days meeting with us and touring the Galt and some other facilities. And so he's really excited to be on board for that project. And so again, he joins us as we start this work that's going to lead to our permanent site for February 2020. So the next time that we gather as a group, we're going to have a permanent site. So we're very excited about that. And we'd like to thank the City of Lethbridge and the Allied Arts Council for their ongoing support and commitment to the Sports Hall of Fame permanent site project. Tonight, we're really fortunate to have one of our own board members, Mr. Paul Kingsmith, as our MC. He does an amazing job, and his work in local sport through Global and the college is well known in the community, and so really pleased to have him back as our MC this year. So again, on behalf of the board, I'd like to welcome you all to the evening, and I hope you have a great time. And Paul, take it away from here. Thank you.
Thanks, Darrell. I like that you knew you were coming up to speak, and yet you stood as far back in the room just to really draw out your entrance as you could. Welcome to the evening, everyone. I'm glad to be asked to be back again as the MC. It's really an honor to be here. What amazes me is year after year, the quality of inductees that are honored each year by the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. As each year passes, the quality does not drop off in any way, which is really a testament to the environment of sports that we have in our city. So thank you all for all that you do. Thank you for being here tonight. We have a big night ahead. To open tonight's ceremony, please rise for the singing of O Canada as we welcome Tyler Levitt, the choral director of Gilbert Patterson Middle School.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see the lies the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you, Tyler. Well, it was one of the best days of my life when I answered a call from then Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame Board Chair Rob Kasuth. He said, Paul, it's my honor to ask you to be a part of the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. And then he paused and he said, as MC for our dinner. For a moment, I felt such immense pride. It turns out that you actually need to do something in Lethbridge sports to get inducted into the Hall of Fame. So being 8th on my rec hockey team in Lethbridge, and the 4th worst men's rec hockey team in Lethbridge, wasn't enough to get me into the Sports Hall of Fame. But the accomplishments of those in the room tonight have more than passed that bar. This is my community. I came here nearly 15 years ago now to work at Global Sports, and I had the honor to watch many of these inductees in their environment do their things. I had a chance to watch ARD's volleyball teams win championship after championship. I had a chance to interview Don Barry. I somehow missed the 81 Little League because I wasn't born. But other than that, this is why I love doing this event, is because this is where I feel at home and the people that I connect with. So thank you all for being here tonight and being a part of it. Tonight we recognize a once young baseball team that earned national acclaim, one of the top golfers the city has ever seen, who made her impact on both sides of the border, an incredibly decorated high school volleyball coach, a dynamic driving force behind the emergence of mixed martial arts in our city, a super organizer who has her fingerprints on nearly every major sports event and initiative in our city over the past 30 years, a curling team that put our city on the world map, and an absolute force on the judo mat. This is who we will honor tonight. That last one is especially important because it does help to represent our theme for this evening, which is, of course, judo, and it's about time, right? From the seeds planted by the legendary Yosh Senda and his wife Flo, both Hall of Famers in their own right, obviously, the sport has made its presence felt in our city. It's affected the lives of countless young people who have taken up the sport and sent dozens, if not hundreds, of judokans from our city onto the national and international stage. So we wanted to recognize judo and people like Trevor Mcalpine who have made this sport so important in our city. And I'm not just saying that because they could all beat me up very easily. Speaking of people who could easily beat me up, it's actually quite a long list. So we also will honor two young superstars this evening, our Kinsman Sports People of the Year, who have made their impact felt. It's an award Trevor actually won a few years back. As we get going tonight, I do want to start by introducing the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame Board. If I could have the board members stand and be recognized, this is a group that works all year round to make sure that tonight is a success and honor those who deserve it. So a round of applause for our Sports Hall of Fame board members. And a Hall of Fame is not a Hall of Fame if it doesn't have a legacy to represent. And so on that note, we have many previous inductees to the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame here with us tonight. If I could ask those who are members of the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame to please rise as we recognize you for your contributions over the years, our members of the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. What a great group, and it's great to know that we'll be entering more into that prestigious hall later on tonight. We do want to recognize our premier sponsors. They are the Lethbridge Kinsmen, Lethbridge College, Avail Chartered Accountants, Canadian Western Bank Lounge here at the NMAC Centre, Feature Productions, and the Lethbridge Sport Council, Alberta Sport Development Centre, and the Lethbridge 2020 Alberta Summer Games, as well as the many community sponsors. You can find a list of all of them in your program tonight. Thank you all for supporting the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. Feature Productions is here. There are the cameras at the back. They'll be filming this entire ceremony tonight. So after it's uploaded early next week, it'll be available. You can go see the ceremony. You can send the speeches on to family members and friends that weren't able to be here tonight. So a big thank you to Feature Productions for being here and doing that for us. Well, this past year, out of tragedy, which happened just over a year ago, we saw an amazing outpouring of kindness and an incredible generosity. Just over a year ago, 16 people were killed, 13 were injured in the tragic Humboldt Broncos bus crash, including Lethbridge's own Logan Boule. We know about the work being done in Logan's name by his amazing parents, Toby and Bernadine, towards organ donation in our country and beyond as well. Another cause near and dear to Logan's heart was kids sport, who create opportunities for those who otherwise couldn't afford to take part in organized sport in our community. With the help of Logan's parents, the local kids sport chapter has established the Logan Boule Fund so that all kids can play. Sports were a huge part of Logan's life for making both friends and memories, from minor hockey to Winston Churchill rugby to badminton, soccer, and curling. Logan participated in many sports, and part of his legacy is making sure that others have that opportunity as well. And so to honor this amazing young man, the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame is pleased to announce tonight that we are making a $500 donation to the Kids Sport Logan Boule Fund. And we encourage anyone that feels like they want to give as well. There is donations set up at the front table, but it's something that we wanted to do to honor something really special that has happened in our community and beyond over the past year. So at this time, on that note, it was also just over a year ago that we lost University of Lethbridge former Pronghorns hockey captain Brock Hershey. We will ask to take a moment of silence as we honor Brock, Logan, former inductees who we have lost and who are no longer with us, as well as a chance to reflect on your own spirituality. Thank you. Well, at this time, I'm not going to stay any longer and keep you guys from eating because I know that food smells really good over there. So a couple of quick housekeeping notes before we get going with dinner. There are servers here taking orders at tables, as well as the bar located right over there, as I'm sure no one has not been able to notice at this point. Washrooms are right down the hallways available. If you need to smoke, in case you just woke up from a coma from 1970, you have to go outside. And that's only if you do smoke already. Don't take it up just because I told you where to go. At this time, it is time to eat. So we're going to eat, then we're going to come back and we'll honor all of our special inductees and award winners tonight. There's nothing really scientific about how we're going to do this. We conducted a coin flip earlier tonight to decide what end we're starting on. And all we're going to do is start from that end and just sweep down the aisle to whichever way it goes. And it's the easiest way to get like half the room mad at me right off the get-go. So I'm happy to announce that this end was the winning side. They're furthest away from the food, so they have to get to eat first. The guys in the middle had no chance. You were eating right where you were, no matter what. But we'll start at that end. Help yourselves to dinner. We'll just kind of move along as you see tables go. Feel free to make yourself at home. There's multiple lines of the buffet, so it doesn't take long. The folks at the NMAC Center here do a great job. Enjoy your dinner. We'll be back shortly. Maybe. Talking right now. Here, I can, let's see if, you know what, we can put it on this sheet that has the, Hi again, everyone. I just want to let you know we're going to get going with the program in about 3 minutes from now. So if you want to visit the bar, the dessert tables, which everyone's found at the back, there is still some food out as well. If you want to grab anything, do it now. We'll get going with the program in about 3 minutes. Well, that was a great meal. I hope that everybody enjoyed it. Right off the get-go, let's give a round of applause to the staff here at the NMAC Center and the Canadian Western Bank Lounge. Thank you very much. We do want to acknowledge tonight that we are gathered on the traditional lands of the Blackfoot Confederacy. The Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame was founded in 1985 as a city centennial project. The Hall of Fame display, as Darrell mentioned earlier, has traditionally been mobile. It allows it to move around the city. It's been where I work at the college. It's been at City Hall. It can go where it's needed. You see it here tonight. It's a beautiful display, but the problem with the Hall of Fame is it keeps on growing. We keep having great people to induct, and moving these things around all the time is quite a laborious process. So we are very excited that we will be moving to a permanent site next year at the ATB Center on the city's west side. So a very exciting time for the Sports Hall of Fame. And once again, a thank you to Colin Zip, the artist who's joining us here tonight and is taking on the lead on that project. So by this time next year, you'll be able to go to the ATB Center, point out to your friends and family that that's where I am in the Hall of Fame. So that's pretty cool. And one more thank you before we get going. Jamin Heller is the fellow at the back with the camera on him who's been running around tonight. He stepped up last minute to help us out tonight to do some social media, some camera work, and is documenting the night. So thank you to Jamin. Full disclosure, I work with Jamin and I owe him big, so I told him that I would give him a shout out tonight. The theme of tonight's celebration is Judo. Our guest speaker this evening is pretty much a resident expert in that area. He has been a certified athletic therapist and exercise psychologist working in private practice in Lethbridge since 1998. A co-owner of the Rebound Health Center, he serves as a sports injury and sports performance consultant to many high-performance Olympic level and professional athletes. He worked as a doping control officer at the Vancouver Winter Olympics in Whistler in 2010, and he's been a member of Team Canada's medical staff at multiple Canadian National Judo Championships and Canadian National Track and Field Championships. He holds a Master's of Kinesiology degree from the University of Calgary and is a certified strength and conditioning specialist, certified exercise psychologist, certified athletic therapist, registered kinesiologist, a certified strength and conditioning specialist. Yeah, I hope he's paying me to list all these off. He is also a sessional instructor at the U of L and in the Department of Kinesiology, and a physical training instructor for the recruit training program at Lethbridge College. Beyond all that, getting to the theme of tonight, he is also an accomplished judoka who holds a second-degree black belt. He's a two-time lightweight veterans national champion and won a bronze medal at the 2016 World Masters Championships. He is a current coach at the Lethbridge I knew I was going to mess this up and I was going to talk to Tim. Kyodokan Judo Club. Please welcome tonight Tim Takahashi, our guest speaker.
I hope this thing goes down low enough for me here. Well, thank you. I'm honored to be here tonight and to talk to you. My name is Tim Takahashi. I'm a local Lethbridge boy. I was born and raised here, right here in Lethbridge. And believe it or not, growing up, I did not dream about being a judo athlete. I actually was like every other good Canadian boy. I wanted to be like Wayne Gretzky. And I actually played hockey till I was about 15 or 16 years old. And unfortunately, in Canada, once you're not drafted by 15, you're done. And that was it. And actually, after that, I basically said, all right, I'm going to go play football. And you can see by my size, but I thought this is a good idea. And played some high school football. But then I actually ended up coaching football at LCI for 17 years. So that was a long time, and made a lot of good friends, and had a lot of fun doing that. It was a lot of time, but like as everyone else in this room, we dedicate our lives and our families and to a sport, to a discipline, and we give it our all, and we reap the fruits of those labors. But Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge and recognize all the other inductees into the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. Definitely congratulations to all of the recipients tonight. As I kind of walk through the stands, there's some amazing talent and amazing people that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and all well-deserving. Well, it's my pleasure tonight to speak to you about the sport of judo and the Lethbridge Judo Club, and to recognize also Trevor Mcalpine as one of the inductees in the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. I want to take a little bit of a different theme tonight, and I was thinking about it, but I mean, certainly with judo, I felt like we need to look at the past, the present, and the future. So life is about remembering the past, but we also want to celebrate the present. And in every sport and in our lives, we also want to look forward to the future. So I thought a good place to start was looking back at judo in Lethbridge and with its long and rich history. So obviously, Mr. Yosh Sender was the founder of the Lethbridge Judo Club 67 years ago. He was our sensei and our teacher. Mr. Senda was born in Mission, British Columbia in 1922, and along with his wife, Florence Senda, who is actually here tonight, was a driving force behind the sport. Their names are synonymous with the sport of judo in Lethbridge. Mr. Senda became a practitioner of judo in his youth in BC, and in 1937 won the Canadian Championships in Vancouver at a time when judo remained largely limited to the West Coast and was largely segregated within the Japanese-Canadian population. But it was the Second World War which brought actually judo to southern Alberta. In 1942, because of the war, all persons of Japanese ancestry were either relocated east of the Rocky Mountains or to a camp if they chose to remain in BC. But Mr. Senda, along with many other Japanese families, arrived in southern Alberta and began to assist Mr. Katsuda in teaching judo in Raymond. This undertaking represented Alberta's first judo club, and Mr. Katsuda and Mr. Senda led practices for 30 students in the reception room of the Raymond Buddhist Church. And all the students were Japanese, which also included actually my father and some of my uncles who were some of his students. Following the war, many of the Japanese Canadians decided to remain in southern Alberta and to make a life here. Mr. and Mrs. Senda and their family relocated to Lethbridge in 1952, where the Kyodokan Judo Club, Lethbridge Judo Club was formed, and Mr. Senda was the instructor for the next 18 years at the local YMCA. By the late 1960s, Mr. Senda began to teach and coach judo at the University of Lethbridge. And the University of Lethbridge in judo has enjoyed a long history there. Mr. Senda also became increasingly involved with judo at the national level and served as the national coach from 1976 to 1984. And during the 1970s and 80s, a number of local judo athletes enjoyed significant international successes, in large part to Mr. Senda's coaching and guidance. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize some of the past honorees, as Phil Illingsworth, Joe Melly, Tom Greenway, and Guy Pomahak and Lorraine Matteau. Many young athletes from Lethbridge participated in judo, and in subsequent years in the late 1990s and early 2000s is where our story leads us to our current Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame recipient, Trevor Macalpine, as one of those young, talented athletes from Lethbridge. So I just want to talk about the present. As the sport of judo continued to grow in Lethbridge, the judo club grew, and it actually outgrew its university location. In 2005 or 2006, just right in there, the club constructed a new facility just that way, just over there, by the Lethbridge NMAX and the Community Savings Place Soccer Center. And building on its long-term success in the new world-class facility, the club has earned the opportunity to become Judo Canada's regional training center in 2015, where athletes come to train here from all over Canada. Trevor has currently become an integral part of the coaching staff and the head sensei of the seniors class, and he puts in a lot of time teaching and coaching our up-and-coming judoka. However, I also want to recognize that the current coaches that actually coach there now and the senseis that run the regional training center and the Lethbridge Judo Club. Mr. Senda is our head sensei still. I forgot how old you are, but she's well over 90, and she still teaches all the classes. Johan Beaton runs the regional training program, and Russ Gallant is our head coach, and myself as an assistant instructor. In any sport, coaching requires a huge time commitment, and Mr. Senda had stated this best when he said, quote, "An instructor has to be there every day, not just some days," end quote. And these men, particularly Russ and Trevor, put a lot of time. They dedicate countless hours of their time and selflessly share their love and knowledge of the sport. And in fact, anyone in any sport who commits their time and dedicates their life to their sport is a winner in my books. We are often asked why we spend so much time at the Judo Club teaching and coaching, and along with everyone else in this room, why do we spend so much time in our sports doing what we love? And I want to quote Trevor, I think, because he said it best, and I quote, "We have a debt that we can never fully repay," end quote. And I think this is a debt to the sport of judo, but also he's referring to the club and also to Mr. Senda and his legacy. Presently, the Lethbridge Judo Club has produced over 100 black belts to the rank of Shodan. It generally takes about 10 years to get your black belt, which is an accomplishment that takes a tremendous amount of time, dedication, and sacrifice. I'm going to embarrass these guys now. So we also have 4 young judoka here helping Trevor celebrate his induction to the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. I want to point out that these young judoka were chosen by Trevor personally for their dedication and commitment to the sport. This is Joel Demare, Brady Dixon, Taylor Koliaska, and Kira Westlake. I also want to thank the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame for providing the opportunity of having these young individuals here tonight. All of these 4 young judoka have their black belts. And getting your black belt, though, in my opinion, is actually the easy part. You know, really, if you get down to it, and Russ says this a lot, all you got to do is come to practice, work hard, go to competition, win some matches, get your points, do your kata. Pretty easy. However, I think that is the easy part. I believe that the hard part is earning the right and honoring your commitment to hold and have a black belt. That's more important. It's not a... It's a journey. It's not a destination. Trevor's been an example of this by seeing his sensei do this, and now he shares his time and knowledge by coaching and giving back to his sport of judo so others can become better and enjoy success in judo as he has. Just as an example, I brought my black belt, and I just wanted to show you what this was. This is Mr. Senda's name. This is Senda. And I unfortunately, my daughter and I have the, I'm not sure exactly the right word, but we were physically the last 2 black belts that were ever received from Mr. Senda. We did our test in June, and for some scheduling reasons, we never really got together, and we received our black belts from Mr. Senda in July or August, and then he passed away in September. And but I brought this just as a visual aid to show that his name as my sensei will always be on my belt for the rest of my life. And it's a way to honor his teachings and his philosophy and his the lessons that he has taught me. And this is something that continues on now to the present, and this is actually passed on to 2 of Mr. Senda's students, which is Russ and Trevor, and they've taken on that responsibility to continue the work with these young judoka. In recent years, the Lethbridge Judo Club has enjoyed a lot of success, particularly in the last 3 years. Some of the awards include the Lethbridge Judo Club is the 2nd-ranked club in Canada based on national medals. And so basically, little old Lethbridge is ranked 2nd in all of Canada for judo. We're 2nd best. We will be the best. The Lethbridge Judo Club actually took 1st place as the U18 or under 18 national ranking at Elite 8. And the Elite 8 is the top 8 fighters in every weight division across Canada fight at one tournament. And we actually took 1st place in that division. So Lethbridge is number 1. We have medalists in judoka from Lethbridge placing and competing in the following international competitions. Belgian Open, the Italian EGAU Cup, the Spanish EGAU Cup, the Canada Winter Games, and the U18 Thuringia Cup in Germany, and largely from these 4 young individuals who attended almost all of these. All of these accomplishments and successes largely come from the coaching, instruction, and support from the Regional Training Center and the Lethbridge Judo Club. Trevor knows what it takes to win and what is required to be a top-level national and international judoka, and we can see this in our young players today. I wanted to just switch gears a little bit because I really thought when I was preparing this speech, what could I convey to you in a way that would have you understand what really goes on at the judo club. And so this is the only thing I could think of, so hope just bear with me. In the Lethbridge Judo Club, we have 2 sets of rules posted on the wall. So when you come into the judo club, on the wall is a set of rules that are established by Mr. Senda. And these are the rules that are to be followed as a colored belt or as you're a non-black belt, so as you're learning to become a black belt. And these rules and code of conduct are designed to make you a good person. They're not to make you a good fighter. They're made to make you a good citizen. And I just wanted to talk about a few of these. Number 1, these were the cardinal rules of Mr. Senda. Number 1, which is number 1, be on time for class. I think, honestly, in all of my 20-plus years of the judo, I don't think I've ever had a judo class ever start late. And we just start on time, and that is just the way we work. And I think that's a valuable lesson in life, too. Number 2, help keep the dojo clean. Number 3, keep your judo gi clean and in good repair. Number 4, be courteous and helpful to each other at all times. For number 5, use the correct forms of standing or kneeling bows. Number 6, respect the referee's decision at all times. There are several others, but those are the top 6 that I picked out. And I know I'm a lot older than I look, and I know this is a really old-fashioned, but I think these are some old-fashioned rules that we are losing, and I think the dojo is a place where we will continue to uphold those rules. And these are great rules for life. The other set of rules, which we'll talk about, are largely established by Trevor as a competitor. And these are tried, tested, and true through first-hand experience. And these are what you need to do in order to be a good competitor and a good fighter. And these are taught to all of the judoka who want to be a competitive player. Some of these rules are, and I will explain what these mean. And I know these seem really silly. Number 1, do not fall down. This is not a physical act. Falling down is a mental act. We see it time and time again that if someone just decides, I am not going to fall down, they don't fall down. And that's really what it is. And that's why we say, don't fall down. Rule number 1. Number 2, keep your angle. It's a little technical, but essentially what it is don't switch. If you're a righty, be a righty. Don't be a lefty. If you're a lefty, you're a lefty. Don't switch. Keep your angle. And if you violate that rule, you get thrown on your head. Number 3, do not walk forward with one hand. I think this is a good analogy for life as well. If you're going to do something, put 2 hands on someone and go for it. Not walk forward with one hand, because if that happens, you will end up looking up from the floor. Number 4, do not bend over. I know I'm not going to go there. I know we have a lot of adults in this room. But that means do not turtle, do not drop your head, and do not back up. Stand your ground, stand up straight, do not bend over. Fight. Number 4, no crying in judo. I know there's no crying in baseball, but there's no crying in judo. I'm looking at Blake Piaki right here. But we take this pretty literally. Judo is a pretty tough sport, and I don't know, people just don't cry. I think we just beat it out of them, I think. So there's no crying in judo. And actually, a true story is my daughter, who's a black belt as well, and I'm very proud of that, and she stuck with it. I took her to judo, and she cried every day for 3 weeks straight. Every day she cried. And because she's a very tender soul, like she's such a kind young girl, didn't want to hurt anyone. And she just cried and cried and cried, and finally she just stopped after 3 weeks, and she never cried again. And so I think that's a good way to get her out of that. Anyways, number 6, No talking during Uchikomi and Randori. I threw that in there because, yes, it is also applying in school, but we really try to make sure that when you're there to practice, you're there to listen, and you're there to receive instruction, not to have a good time. And so there's a time to work, and then there's a time to play. And so we really try to keep some of these rules. There are many other rules, but these are some of the rules that Trevor and the coaching staff has established. The future. I think the future is very strong and bright for Trevor, and particularly Judo and the Lethbridge Judo Club. Through Trevor's coaching and instruction and the sharing of his international experience with our future judoka, we expect many successes in the future for Lethbridge and the Judo Club. I just wanted to briefly list a list, well, it's actually not brief, it's fairly long, Trevor's list of medals and tournament wins and international results. 1 silver and 4 bronze medals at the Pan American Championships from 2002 to 2006. He's a gold medalist at the U20 Pan American Junior Championships in 2001. Gold medalist at the Canadian U20 Championships in 2001. 2001 was a good year. 21 medals at an international level tournament, and 3 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronzes at the Canadian Nationals. I wanted to list that, and I wanted to stand here and say that because Trevor will never, ever tell you that. He is too much of a humble man to ever describe. I actually had to like really dig hard to find this stuff. So, he deserves every accolade he gets. Trevor's list of tournament wins speaks for itself. However, I'd like to conclude by talking about the following list that best describes Trevor as a person. Number 1, a fierce competitor who always wants to win, even now, at everything he does. A man who will always tell you the truth, whether you want to hear it or not. Someone who speaks his mind and you know exactly where you stand with him. And I think in today's world, I think that's a valuable personality trait. An honest friend who loves to have a good time. I really thought for a whole day to try to think of a story that I could share with you, but unfortunately they are all not appropriate for this room. So I have to just take a pass on that. He's tough on the outside, but kind on the inside. A lot of the kids and a lot of the competitors only see the harsh side, and with many of you in this room, that when you have to coach, you have to really be strong and tough. And sometimes you don't get to see the soft side and the kind, caring part of you. And Trevor does have that side. He just doesn't show it. Respectful of his opponents and training partners. I've never actually heard him really disrespect anyone. And we're like everyone else. You know, there's some people you just don't like, and that's okay. But he's always been respectful of anyone he's fought and anyone he's trained with. The smallest and shortest heavyweight in the plus 100 kilogram weight class, who, without a doubt, is the most athletic big man I have ever seen. He moves so fast for a big guy, I just can't believe it. So, in conclusion, I'd like to say that the past and the present and the future all meet right here in Lethbridge, Alberta. And we are reaping the fruits of our rich past and who we are and where we live. I'd like to just say, Trevor, congratulations to you and all the other inductees into the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. To all of the other inductees, your skill, dedication, and successes set you apart in your sport as well-deserving recipients of this honor. And I think I would be remiss without finally thanking all the families who support all of the athletes, all of those who put in countless hours and time and money and missed vacations and missed birthdays sometimes, missed births of children sometimes, for dedicating themselves and their time to sport and to others. So with that, I say thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim. That was fantastic. If you just want to take over for the rest of the night, I'm cool with that. You're killing it up here. With that, it is time for tonight's induction ceremony into the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. Presenting our inductees with their awards tonight is Darrell Christensen, the chair of the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. Our first inductee, you can give him a clap, that's fine. Our first inductee tonight goes into the athlete category. I'd like to congratulate Dawn Barry Furtado. Dawn was a well-rounded athlete who excelled at a number of sports while she was growing up, including soccer, basketball, and golf. It was on the links, however, where she would make her mark, excelling locally, provincially, and nationally. Playing out of the Henderson Lake Golf Club and representing Lethbridge Collegiate Institute throughout her high school years, Barry captured numerous individual and team titles. Her first breakthrough came in 1993 when she won the first of 2 consecutive Lethbridge City Junior Championships. And as captain of LCI's girls golf team, she led the Clippers to 3 straight Alberta Schools Athletic Association high school provincial team titles, and in 1995 claimed the ASAA individual provincial championship. With her reputation established in provincial golf circles, Barry was named to the Alberta Ryder Cup team for the first time in 1995 and also earned a spot on the Provincial A golf team. She completed her year by winning the Alberta Junior Masters 16-year-old division. Her exploits led to recognition south of the border, and while still in grade 10, she signed to attend the University of Oregon on a scholarship. The next year, Dawn won both the Alberta Junior Masters for her age group and the Alberta Junior Golf overall title. In 1997, she repeated as provincial champion and helped the Alberta team to a silver medal at the Canadian Junior Golf Championship. While playing in the highly competitive Pac-10 conference at Oregon, Barry continued to excel. She was a 3-time academic All-American. She was named a Pac-10 Conference All-Star in 2000. Following her collegiate career, Barry served as assistant golf coach at both James Madison University and Vanderbilt University before returning home to Lethbridge. An 8-time Henderson Lake Ladies Classic champion, 3-time Lethbridge Ladies City champion, and the winner of the 2007 Lethbridge Country Club Ladies Invitational, Barry continues to dominate every time that she tees it up. Welcome 2019 Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame inductee in the athlete category, Dawn Barry Furtado.
As a kid growing up, I grew up following a lot of local sports. I heard a lot of great stories of local athletes, had the opportunity to watch a lot of phenomenal local talent, as well as look up to some of them as role models along the way. Many of these athletes have made their way into Lethbridge's Sports Hall of Fame. So tonight, for myself to be inducted alongside so many accomplished athletes, teams, and builders is an incredible honor and a privilege I am truly thankful for. So I would like to begin by addressing my fellow inductees who share in this honor with me. Congratulations to all of you. This evening, and all of the work and preparation that goes into it, would not be possible without the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame Board of Directors. My sincerest thank you to everyone involved in making this a special evening and honor. Where to begin? Well, my golf career would not have been possible without the opportunities the Alberta Golf Association provided us golfers back then. Back in the day, the ladies program was its own separate entity known as the Alberta Ladies Golf Association. They provided camps, clinics, and hosted events throughout the province to help us improve our skills and provide us with a competitive atmosphere over the few short months we had to play. Worth noting are Thelma Coots and Joan Qualley for establishing an excellent association devoted to promoting female golf in Alberta. I was also fortunate enough to be part of the Henderson Lake Junior Golf Program. There was no program like it around, despite having to be up around 7 a.m. in the morning, Monday mornings during our summer months. Our days consisted of a round of golf, lunch charged to our parents' account, and then heading out again for another round of 18. Tiv Harris, Art Dirksen, Rock Bruno, and Ron Terrakita were the primary parent volunteers, alongside many countless others, behind the scenes coordinating the foursomes, walking, and distributing our coveted golf ball if we were lucky to win at the end of the first 18. So thank you to those volunteers for providing the grassroots to my junior career. Also, it was here where I met some truly great friends. I can still remember the first time I was moved up to the 18-hole division, and myself and Dana Stevenson being paired with the likes of Mike Dirksen and Wes Widmer. Well, oh my God. Dana was just giddy the whole way around, and I don't think I saw straight all 18 holes, never fathoming how they could pair us with some of the best juniors around. Well, Mike, Wes, and I played a lot of golf together after that. Eventually, I began to see straight and hold my own. Wes and I won our first junior city titles together. Wes and I also won our first provincial titles together. We had always been in each other's corners throughout our careers, dating as far back as this first encounter. I would also like to thank the membership of Henderson Lake for supporting me throughout the years. Showing up to see a huge banner hanging from the rafters of the entrance into Henderson, congratulating myself and Wes on our provincial titles was heartwarming and humbling. A feat I believe was the first of its kind, not yet to have been broken, where both a junior girl and junior boy won their respective titles in the same year from the same course. Now, yes, some members were not as supportive, but I do want to thank the Gross League that accepted me and allowed me to play. It meant playing the men's par, the men's tee, straight up against some of the best golfers at Henderson. But hey, you quickly learn a whole different level of competitive golf when money is on the line. I entered my first provincial tournament at the age of 12. It was at this time that I began working with Paul Lowe. Paul and I were an established team over the years, constantly working to improve my swing, fit me with the right equipment, and simply working to get my head on straight. One of my fondest memories, and one I know all three of us share, was a time my dad was going to buy me my first real set of rain gear. And Paul comes out with this pink and blue set with a ribbon embellishing the jacket. Oh, but it wasn't just any ribbon. It had these little duckies all over it. Yep, I refused to wear that thing. There was no way I wouldn't be caught dead wearing ducks. Well, wouldn't you know it, I would soon become a duck as I signed my letter of intent in the fall of my grade 12 year. Nonetheless, I owe so much of my success to Paul and can't thank him enough for the countless hours devoted to improving my game, from time spent on the range, on the course, or in the pro shop. Paul and his wife Sandy, fixtures in my life for nearly 30 years, are here with me this evening, and I can't stress that my accomplishments are without the support and hounding of Paul over the many, many years together. Speaking of ducks, I would be remiss without giving a shout out to my university golf coach, Rene Baumgartner. She took a chance on a Canadian kid and opened the door to so many fantastic opportunities I would never have believed possible. I traveled across the U.S. playing golf. I traveled to Australia and New Zealand with our golf team representing the University of Oregon. I represented the Pac-10 in Japan, Hong Kong, mainland China, South Korea, and even stepped across into North Korea, the most heavily guarded border in the world. I witnessed countless NCAA basketball and football games. Sat with the likes of Phil Knight as an alum, watching my Ducks play in the first round of the 2003 NCAA March Madness tournament. As a coach in the NCAA, I continue to travel across the states, both coaching and recruiting, and meeting more fabulous people along the way. Nobody understands my Oregon Ducks and the NCAA better than Dr. Lewis Hobson. He was a University of Washington grad, and if anyone knows their college sports, there's absolutely no love in the Pacific Northwest between the Washington Huskies and my Oregon Ducks. But despite these differences, he and his wife Kathy have been my biggest supporters throughout my journey. They can't be here this evening, but tonight would not have been possible without them. So thank you. Lastly, tonight would not be possible without my family. My brother Neil was just as busy as I was growing up. He was busy with hockey, summer hockey in Calgary, racing bikes, and pretty much anything you could hurt yourself in, he was doing it. Nonetheless, we had a great relationship and support for each other. To my parents, thank you for leaving your 17-year-old daughter on a practice green as you departed the Shadow Hills Golf Club, while I was alone to embark on a new journey in life as an NCAA athlete. I also have to thank my parents for walking behind me as a junior, hoofing my bag as an amateur, and simply pushing me to get out there and practice more. I have to thank my parents for sending me across the country and across the world chasing a golf ball. Honestly, there are not enough thank yous I can give my parents for everything they have done for me throughout the years. My dad and I can still be found talking shop, watching our sports, and having our friendly, not so friendly sometimes, matches on the links. My mom continues to be my sounding board and my voice of reason. My job now is to love and support my daughter as you did for me. Golf is like life. It has its ups and downs. It is both humbling and rewarding, all in the same breath. And guess what? I wouldn't have it any other way. So thank you.
Congratulations, Dawn. Who knew that being a duck could almost cost you a recruit? Our next inductee goes into the builder category. We are pleased to recognize Ard Bicheval. Ard devoted over 25 years to the development of volleyball and volleyball players from Southern Alberta, from grassroots elementary school programs to local club, high school, college, and provincial programs. Bicheval's influence as a coach and administrator led to outstanding team successes and individual opportunities for his players. A volleyball and sort of a soccer player at the University of Lethbridge, Bicheval first got into coaching when he took the reins of the Lethbridge College women's volleyball team from 1990 to 1993. During this time, he also founded the Lethbridge Volleyball Club. His teaching career took him to Lethbridge Collegiate Institute and eventually Chinook High School. At LCI, Bicheval's teams won numerous Southern Alberta High School League championships, including his final 4 years at the school from 2006 to 2009, when the Rams competed in 4 straight 4A provincial finals. The highlight of those years was 2007, when the team posted a perfect 59-0 record and won the ASAA 4A provincial championship. Upon moving to Chinook, Bicheval's teams continued to excel. His teams won 6 straight 4A zone titles, making it 10 consecutive years that Bicheval had coached the 4A zone champion. Over that span, his clubs captured 5 provincial medals, including a gold, 3 silvers, and 1 bronze. Bicheval was selected as the SAHSVL Coach of the Year 8 times, and in 2004, he led the South Zone boys team to gold at the Alberta Summer Games. A provincial team program assistant and head coach on numerous occasions, he was on the staff of the 2009 Alberta U19 men's team that captured the National Team Challenge Cup. In 2015, he was the first high school coach to be named to the staff of the male Canadian Youth National Team Program. Bicheval also founded the local Stars volleyball program and was the chairperson and co-author of Volleyball Canada's Atomic Curriculum. A coach, teacher, mentor, and builder, he has forever changed the face of volleyball in Southern Alberta. Please welcome 2019 Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame inductee in the builder category, Ard Bicheval.
All right. Although I'm a teacher, public speaking is probably my biggest fear, so this is going to be real short, especially after that beautiful speech we just had. My wife convinced me to put my contacts in tonight, and now I'm really having trouble reading this, so bear with me. All right. So I would like to start by thanking the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame and his volunteers for putting on this great event. I'd also like to congratulate all the other inductees that are being recognized tonight. It's quite humbling to be part of the same class as everyone else. Some amazing accomplishments. As any of my former players would know, I always like to start my practices with a quote, so I'd like to start with a quote tonight as well. And the quote is, "If I have seen further, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants," by Sir Isaac Newton. This quote accurately sums up how I feel about my accomplishments in volleyball. There have been many giants who have paved the way before me, or who have helped me along the way. I would like to thank this opportunity to acknowledge and thank them. First and foremost, I would like to thank God, who has given me a life filled with amazing people and opportunities. I truly am a blessed man. My family, who's right over there, has also played a very important role in my life. My parents, Chris and Puck, who moved to a different country to ensure that my brother and I would have a better future, despite my protests. I did not want to come here. I hated Canada for a long time, but love it now. And I would not have had any of these opportunities if they hadn't brought me here. But they also taught me to believe in myself and to be willing to take advantage of opportunities when they arrive. My children, Marcus and Samantha, and my sons over there, are my constant motivation and my source of great pride and joy. And shout out to my son who coached this last weekend, and they got a silver medal at provincials, which was pretty awesome in his first year coaching, along with one of my former players, Andy Hemmerling, so it was awesome. My wife, Kim, and if you've met her before, she's not a giant in stature, but she's truly the great woman behind the man. Without her, almost none of my accomplishments that I've been credited for would have been achieved. I'm most grateful for the fact that she allowed me to be a coach and a dad by making sure that my kids were always part of everything that we did. Like probably a lot of you, I was very fortunate to have great high school coaches. My high school coach was Bill Gadd, my volleyball coach, and Dan Ranovich, my basketball coach, and they instilled in me a love for both sport and a desire to give back so that I could provide others with the same amazing experience that I had as a high school athlete. I learned how to coach under local legend Howard Rasmussen, and Howard had built a great program at LCI, and I was very fortunate that he let me take that over, and I did my best to live up to the standard that he set. My good friend, Dr. Mary Dick, believed in me enough to agree to write a book with me. She didn't really know what the book was about. I phoned her up and said, hey, you want to write a book? And her answer was, sure. And then we talked about what the book was going to be. The resulting journey in the ultimate published book is something that I very much treasure. Of course, there were many others who had part in this, so whether you're one of my players, one of my co-coaches, or one of the many behind-the-scenes volunteers, I'm grateful to you all. I've been blessed to work with an amazing group of people, and it's made it very easy to dedicate most of my adult life to coaching and growing the sports of volleyball. So even though I'm being recognized individually, this award really represents each and every one of you giants. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Ard. Ard avoided a narrow bun to the head incident at dinner, so to persevere and still make that speech is really something. So congratulations. Our next inductees are in the team category. They are the 2008 Senior Ladies World Curling Champions. Skip Diane Foster's Lethbridge Curling Senior Ladies rink consisted of third Shirley McPherson, second Shirley Kohutch, and lead Chris Wilson. They were a team that showcased their resilience over the course of 2 seasons to eventually achieve their ultimate goal. Winners of the 2006 Alberta Senior Ladies Curling Championship, the rink's first foray on the national stage, resulted in a 5-6 record and a missed playoff appearance. While the result wasn't what they wanted, the experience the rink gained proved to be invaluable, and from that point forward, they were pretty much unstoppable. In 2007, the Foster rink again advanced out of the Alberta Playdowns and roared into the national championship event in Quebec on a 10-game winning streak. Posting a 10-2 record at nationals, Foster and her crew claimed the Canadian title, closing out the championship game with a dramatic double takeout on the final stone. The team advanced to represent Canada at the 2008 Women's World Senior Championships in Finland. Now known as Team Canada, the rink won its first 3 games in Finland, but then struggled with a pair of losses over its next 3. They eventually regrouped and closed out the round-robin portion of the event with a first-place 7-2 record. The team drew Switzerland in the championship semifinal, one of 2 teams they'd lost to in the preliminary round. But showing their trademark resilience, Team Canada responded with its best game of the event, winning decisively 8-3. Foster, McPherson, Kohutch, and Wilson then faced Scotland for the world title, a team they'd beaten handily 11-1 in round-robin play. Knowing the Scots favored a draw game with multiple rocks in play, the Canadians knew exactly what they needed to do. They came out hitting and dominated play from the outset, cruising to a 10-2 victory to claim the 2008 Senior Ladies World Curling title. From a championship on the world stage to an honor here at home tonight, please welcome 2019 Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame inductees in the team category, Diane Foster, Shirley McPherson, Shirley Kohutch, and Chris Wilson, the 2008 Senior Ladies World Curling Championship team.
Wow, it was awesome to wear the maple leaf. Just can't believe it. Just so proud. Leading up to 2002, the best of senior women curlers, those age 50 and over, were sprinkled across various teams in our Lethbridge Ladies Curling Club. Most still had work and careers and young grandmas that didn't stray far from the family connections. Teams were tossed together in attempts to complete in provincial playdowns with no success. None took the time to prepare in such a way that might bring better results. When we first approached the creation of this team, it was everything about personalities, skill levels, and commitment to build the ability to elevate the level of play. We added a coach. This was the first for the senior women curling team in Lethbridge. Our first 3 years were difficult ones, with player health issues and turnovers happened early. Replacements did not meet the needed skill level and were still a team in the making. We were failing in team dynamics, and performance did not meet the needs for a competing team. Diane Foster is not part of our team at this point. In 2005, when Crest now in good health, a new third was added, and we had high hopes of finally rounding out a team that would compete at the provincial level. As fate would have it, at the first round of playdowns, Southern Alberta, in early 2006, our third was injured before our final game and unable to continue. We reached at availability replacements, and this Calgary lady, Diane Foster, was selected. The rest is history, but I can honestly say not without bumps along the way. Practicing took on a very busy and disciplined approach. We practically lived at the club. We took lessons from our first experience at the Canadian Championships in 2006. We changed player positions within the team for this betterment. We learned a bit more our tongue when we learned to bite our tongue when we needed and to respect our individual characteristics. We were all business on the ice, and we still had laughs today at the fun we had off the ice. A perfect 11-0 win-loss record through playdowns filled our confidence basket as we prepared for the second slab of the Canadian Championship. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Bill Kohutch. He was our coach, and he had to work very hard with us. We were 3 women from Lethbridge, and sometimes we just didn't perform that well, but he hung with us. Thanks, Bill.
It was March of 2007, a Lethbridge Curling Club send-off, a banner for display, pins and souvenirs for handouts, and the pride of our Alberta colors. We were off to the Canadian Championship in Trois-Rivières, Quebec. Curling venues in Canada are known for wonderful hospitality and welcome they provide. We felt we were in for the treat of a lifetime. We were provided with a van, a driver, and he did everything a team could wish for to enjoy this community. A trip to the spectacular Basilica of Cap de Madeleine, known as the Church of Miracles, for good luck, great restaurants of French cuisine, Montreal's smoked meat being tops, a social at the Sugar Shack where maple syrup was in harvest. We were on a sugar high from super syrup treats and taffy made in the snow, and a wonderful event-closing banquet for curlers, volunteers, and guests. Superstitions had our driver programmed to never deviate from the first chosen route to the curling facility, and we were vigilant about avoiding any black cat for fear it might cross our path. We learned the team drivers were betting on games, and our driver, Jacques, let it be known later there were times he was sweating when the scores weren't going our way. A 9-2 record after round-robin play advanced us directly to the final against BC, who had just won the semifinal game. We had defeated BC in an earlier game and knew the final would be a tough one, but never to the extent that a win or loss teetered on the last shot of the game. A double knockout with the shooter needing to stay to break a 4-4 tie. Diane raced down the ice with her hair flying backwards for the final shot. We reminded her to take her time, take a deep breath. Our fans were pacing. The throw, the line calling, and sweeping, a perfect team shot, removes the 2 BC stones, the shooter settles for the win, and we are Canadian champs.
Wow, Team Foster is now Team Canada. What an honor it was to earn the privilege of representing our country at the Senior World Curling Championship in Virmäki, Finland in March 2008. Finland bestowed many fond memories for all of us. We got to listen to the Finnish language where one word can be an entire phrase. We got to experience fish for breakfast, reindeer meat for supper. We also experienced a Scandinavian-style sauna where you heat your body up for 10 minutes and then go outside and jump into an ice-cold lake behind the building to cool off. We also received kimonos from our sister team from Japan, never to be worn again. And of course, we all remember Pat Ryan, who was a skip from the Canadian senior men's team, belting out blue suede shoes, plus many more Elvis Presley songs at the closing banquet. It was also great to interact with 9 other teams from around the world and experience a variety of unique and different cultures. At the end of the playoffs, with a 7-2 record, our confidence was building. Going to the playoffs, however, you never know what could happen. We were at our best that day. We defeated Switzerland 8-3 in the semis, and then Scotland 10-2 in the final game to claim the gold. However, the epic moment and the fondest memory for all of us was what happened at the closing ceremonies. After winning our final game against Scotland to win the world title, our team then marched back onto the ice, proudly carrying the Canadian flag. The podiums were set up. Switzerland, the bronze medal, was on our left. Scotland, the silver medalist, was on our right. And here we were, center stage. Each member of our team, plus our coach, Paul Webster, received an engraved silver tray, plus a gold medal. Our hearts were bursting with pride. And then, oh my God, they played our national anthem. Our eyes filled with tears as we listened to O Canada. And it was at that moment that we realized what had happened and what we accomplished. This memory will be with us forever.
Well, it's my turn, the flying hair girl. And firstly, I'd love to thank Shirley, and Chris. You are the very best team a skipper could ever have asked for. Thank you. World champions. Thank you, Skip. We're very proud of this accomplishment of winning a world title. But to put the icing on our cake, the recognition of this world championship has been from this community of Lethbridge. It's been amazing. I call it my home club. It's just been amazing. You've been the most supportive that I've ever even heard of around our country. Our families, thank you. I know this may not be the time, but thank you, particularly our spouses. You've dragged our suitcases around Canada and now around the world. You did it without complaint, and you did it tirelessly, but with more support than what you could ever imagine. Thank you. It's been a long time, or it had been a long time, since Lethbridge celebrated a Canadian curling champion. Myrna Macquarie's team, women's team in 1977, and then Cliff Forey's senior men's team in 1979. We are extremely proud to say that in 2008, as Team Canada, we were the first Alberta women's team, curling team, in any age category to have won a World Curling Championship. We are overwhelmed by the many recognitions that have come our way since 2008, and we're ever so thankful, again, to this community as they see a reason to help us recall and celebrate the most memorable days of our curling lives. Today, we've been selected to receive a most cherished award. Our thanks to Thelma Coots, our nominator, and to the selection committee as we enter this Lethbridge Hall of Fame, not just curling. Because listening to the other inductees tonight, man, we have got a lot of talented athletes in our midst. So I'm sure Shirley and Chris and I, we are deeply touched with this honor. The pride of our team is now etched into a place where our accomplishments and our memories will last forever. Thank you very much.
See the teamwork they delivered that speech with? No wonder they won. That was awesome. I remember back at the time in 2007, 2008, I was spending a lot of time around the curling club, and you started to hear the buzz around this team and that something special might be happening, but I don't think that anyone quite realized the extent it would go to. So very deserving inductees tonight. Congratulations. It is time to honor our second athlete honoree of the evening and say hello to inductee Trevor Mcalpine. Now you can wait a minute, Trevor. I got more things to say here. That wasn't it. I know Tim already took most of my thunder, but growing up in one of the judo hotbeds of Canada, Trevor Mcalpine not only had a host of accomplished national and international level judoka as mentors, he also had the counsel and coaching of one of the most renowned sensei in the country, Yosh Senda. He learned his lessons well. Senda tabbed Mcalpine as a natural, and the student did not disappoint. Known for his lightning-quick speed on the mat and a flawless technical approach, Mcalpine battled in the sport's heavyweight class almost always against bigger opponents. Utilizing his agility and technical prowess, he achieved success at every level. In 2001, at the age of 19, Mcalpine won his first international medals, earning gold at both the Pan American U20 Junior Judo Championships in Mexico and at the United States Open in Las Vegas. He also claimed the Canadian U20 Junior Championship that year and was named 2002 Kinsman Male Sportsperson of the Year as a result. It would only be the start. Over the next 8 years, Mcalpine took control of the Canadian judo scene. He was the Canadian Senior National Champion in 2000, 2001, and 2004, and was on the podium 3 other times with 1 silver and 2 bronze medal finishes for a total of 6 Canadian Senior National Championship medals. From 2002 through 2006, Mcalpine won 1 silver and 4 bronze medals at the Pan American Championships, and in 2003, he claimed gold at the Quebec Senior Open and the Canada Cup in Quebec. Over the course of his impressive career, Mcalpine amassed 21 international tournament medals, including 4 gold, 9 silver, and 8 bronze. Mcalpine's final victory came on the international stage when he fought to a gold medal at the 2007 Morris Cup in Glenville, New York. Today, Mcalpine is passing on his experience to the next generation of judoka as a coach right here in Lethbridge, and tonight he takes his rightful place alongside his mentor in this exclusive club. Please welcome 2019 Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame inductee in the athlete category, Trevor Mcalpine.
Well, like a lot of other people, I hate public speaking, so here we go. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Trevor Mcalpine, and I was a judo competitor in my younger years. It is such a great honor not only to be inducted into the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame, but to be recognized along with this group of fine athletes. I'm not going to lie, I'd rather face you on the mats and throw you than be up here and speaking to you, but here it goes. As a young kid growing up in Lethbridge, you were more than likely to have tried judo or known someone who did. It was a very popular sport in Lethbridge because of the world-famous Dr. Yosh Senda. He was an awesome sensei, which translates from Japanese to English as teacher. He not only taught me about the sport and technique of judo, but also many valuable lessons that translate to life, education, and being a well-rounded person. Now, I don't know how we received all these lessons from him, because he was a man of very few words, but in his own quiet way, he was able to get through to us. I started judo in the 90s at the University of Lethbridge with my younger brother. When I first started, I will admit, I was not very good. Nevertheless, I persevered, and I liked the competition side of judo. As you get older, you begin to progress in the sport. You start traveling more, and you start traveling with the team. This is when the sport becomes a lifestyle. Enter your first arch nemesis. He and I were from the same club and in the same weight class. So not only did we have to fight every practice, but every tournament. I lost every fight to him except one. This was probably one of my first judo lessons of adversity. It taught me a lot about judo and a little bit about myself. I did the bulk of my judo here in Lethbridge until 1999. In that time, I had trained hard and gotten a little bit better at the sport. I had won 4 junior national titles and been runner-up twice. I won a bronze medal at my first senior nationals against some rather large men. That ends what I call phase 1 of my judo career. Enter phase 2. I was on the junior national team, and the coach at the time was Johan Beaton. We had many talks about me moving out to Montreal and train with Canada's national team, as it was the next logical step for me to grow stronger in the sport. So I convinced 2 of my teammates here in Lethbridge to move with me, so we headed out to Montreal, where my judo career grew deeper. The training routine was much different there, mostly because it was a National Olympic Training Center, and everybody was very, very strong. While training in Montreal, the boss was Sensei Nakamura. He was a little bit different than Senda. A little bit more hands-on and a little bit more outspoken. It was very much a love-hate relationship. I can remember getting so mad when he was coaching me. I did my best to channel my anger on the other person I was fighting. It usually worked. Shortly after the 2000 Olympics, my teammate and last and most influential coach, Nicolas Gill, started coaching. Having developed a strong relationship early on as his training partner and friend, he was a great coach for me. I had some of my best results with him in my corner. I talked a lot about the coaches because it is something that is very important to me. The 4 men that I mentioned made a huge difference in my life in judo and outside of judo. So thank you so much to Dr. Yosh Senda, Sensei Nakamura, Nicolas Gill, and Johan Beaton. I am so fortunate to coach alongside Johan on a nightly basis at the Regional Training Center here in Lethbridge. I'm going to tell you a story that always makes me smile a little. I was selected for the 2000 Junior Worlds in Tunis, Tunisia. I did well, finishing 7th. That's not why I like this story. What I do like is that I avenged both of my losses. First, I beat the German competitor in a tournament in Italy. He was the one that eliminated me to go to the bronze medal match. The second competitor was from Tunisia, and I caught up to him at a tournament in Sweden. He was a big and fierce man. I was able to throw him down for a small point and pin him down for 30 seconds. Only by the skin of my teeth did I keep this behemoth of a man down. There are so many people that shaped me as an athlete and as a person. For this, I give thanks. Some of the big ones are the 4 previously named coaches. To the other coaches that I did not mention, I am also in debt to you. For my training partners that took countless falls and challenged me to be my best, without them, this is not possible. Now, for you non-judo people, as much as judo is an individual sport, without a good team of training partners, it is not possible to get better. To all the judo community volunteers that help with everything under the sun, thank you. To the boosters around the judo community providing financial support throughout the years, helping relieve the financial burden of pursuing a sport as a young athlete, thank you. I give back to my sport as much as I can, and most nights you'll find me at the judo club coaching, now as a sensei. This is probably the most important thing that Yosh taught us, is to always give back. The other life lesson was to always respect your parents. So this is where I will end this speech, with a huge thank you to my parents. I lost my spot. For always being there to take me to practice, no matter the southern Alberta weather conditions, to wash my gi that was rather filthy, to volunteer at bingos, as well as ride the bus for countless hours, and to finance my dream. Without your steadfast support, my judo dreams would have fallen short. Thank you. I wish everyone a great rest of their evening as we continue to celebrate the other inductees.
I thought Trevor was tearing up for a second, which would have broken one of Tim's rules, but no such luck. Congratulations, Trevor. Our next inductee is in the builder category, where we welcome Bernard Pohl. The rapid rise in the popularity of mixed martial arts in southern Alberta could only be accomplished thanks to the behind-the-scenes work of individuals who ensured the sport was properly organized and managed safely. Bernard Pohl has been instrumental in that work, helping to develop MMA in the area since its introduction in the late 1990s. His dedication to the organization and promotion of the sport is evident by the respect he has garnered locally and beyond. Pohl initially trained as a fighter, giving him an important perspective as he transitioned to the administrative aspect of the sport. Over the last 18 years and approximately 250 fight cards, he has served the sport in virtually every capacity, including cornerman, referee, judge, and chief fight inspector. From gathering fighters' medical records to recording the results of fights and aiding in promotions by updating websites and databases, Pohl has made an impact on every aspect of the MMA scene. The considerable experience he gained in each of these roles has been key in managing the growth of the sport in a responsible and safe manner. Pohl served on the Lethbridge Combative Commission from 2004 through to 2017, which included several terms as the commission's vice chair. One of his most important contributions was taking on the responsibility of recruiting and educating qualified referees. He organized a referee seminar that brought unified rules and regulations to the sport locally under the direction of well-known UFC referee John McCarthy. In 2015, under the leadership of Pohl, the immensely popular Canadian Mixed Martial Arts Amateur Tournament was introduced to Lethbridge. It continues to run today as a key date on the combative sports calendar. Pohl's willingness to represent the Lethbridge Combative Sports Commission multiple times at annual international conventions, always at his own expense, is testament to his dedication in promoting its continued growth. Tonight, he steps out from his behind-the-scenes role to take his place out in front. Please welcome 2019 Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame builder inductee, Bernard Pohl.
Good evening. Unlike a lot of the other sports that were being discussed this evening, mixed martial arts is relatively new, and I don't know if a lot of you know a lot about the sport. I first got involved 23 years ago, and I was lucky enough to be a newbie in the sport as the sport was just starting in Western Canada. In preparation for talking this evening, I'd gone through some YouTube videos, and I came across Paul Hogan, Crocodile Dundee, right? He was speaking at the Academy Awards, and he was making comment of how many people who had been selected for an award came forward and talked about how maybe they didn't feel worthy, that they were quite surprised by the selection. And he says, so what the Academy has done is they've now created a second envelope. So if you honestly feel when your name gets called that you're not worthy, just kind of wave, and they'll go to the other name. When I got the phone call to say that I had been selected to be inducted into the Sports Hall of Fame in this category, I felt very much that way. The first thing I did is I made an appointment to meet with the person who has influenced me more in the past 25 years as a man, as an athlete, as someone involved with mixed martial arts, the man who I consider the true builder of this sport. And we sat and we talked for about an hour, and at the end of that hour I went, okay, I'll accept this nomination and be very proud of it. I have to thank a number of people. First of all, I've got to thank my wonderful wife, Joanne, and my two sons, who sacrificed a lot because of my love and involvement with mixed martial arts. I worked for the government for 39 and a half years, and I built up a lot of holidays. Those holidays didn't get spent with my family, which is the sacrifice that they made. Talked about going to the conventions of the people who regulated combative sports. That was my summer holiday with my wife that we worked all year for. We'd arrive, and the Saturday I'd do an all-day judging course. On Sunday I do an all-day refereeing course. Monday to Wednesday we'd be in convention trying to figure out how to develop a good regulatory body for the sport here in Lethbridge. And on the Thursday, my wife and I could have a summer holiday and then come back home. My other holidays were all used traveling to fight cards, learning, developing, getting to know what was going on. And I have to thank my youngest son, Andrew, especially, who at 9 years old, when we asked him what he wanted to do for an activity, he said he wanted to become a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. And that's how myself and my two sons ended up going to Meehan's Martial Arts with the head instructor, Lee the Gladiator Meehan, who's thankfully, to my great honor, is here this evening. Trained 6 years with Mr. Meehan in mixed martial arts. Broke my first bones there, dropped a lot of blood on the mats. But the most important thing is I developed a love for the athletes, the people who had developed a dream that a lot of you people here probably couldn't relate to, a dream of learning how to fight, how to enter a cage and compete as an athlete in a fight. That's not something that appeals to a whole lot of people. But I developed a real compassion, real admiration for the people who would do this as a dream. And I knew that I never could. I'm certainly never going to be nominated to the Sports Hall of Fame as an athlete, that's for sure. But I shared the mats with young people, young men, young women who had a dream of competing. And the only way they could compete is if there was an infrastructure, a regulatory body. Legally, these bouts couldn't happen, these competitions couldn't happen unless there was a regulating body to look after it. So I thank Mr. Lee Meehan for teaching me all about the sport of mixed martial arts, the kind of heart and dedication and courage it takes to compete in mixed martial arts. Most of all, though, so that young athletes can have a chance to achieve their dreams, dreams of maybe signing with the largest organizations in the world, competing in front of 30,000, 40,000 fans on pay-per-view, could never happen unless you have somebody willing to put up thousands of dollars to organize a sporting event that most times you end up breaking even, a lot of times losing money, fairly rarely making any money, but making those sacrifices so that athletes have a chance to compete. And that's what Mr. Meehan did. In the early days, there was boxing and wrestling commissions. There were no combative sports commissions. And when MMA first started, there was no regulatory body. The boxing and wrestling commissions had no experience with this sport, had no idea what the sport was. There was very few people who could act as referees or judges and knew what was going on because the sport was so new. It became obvious to me that if I was going to try and be able to make a contribution to this sport, I'd have to learn how to regulate. I'd have to learn how to be a judge and a referee. Because the boxing and wrestling commissions were largely ignoring this sport, the people who were running the gyms across Western Canada and in Alberta, they formed the Canadian Mixed Martial Arts Council, of which the first and only president was the legendary Steve Bergeron. I signed up with Steve Bergeron to take every course available I could. I went to every fight card across Western Canada, Northwestern United States, representing the CMAC organization. And we regulated MMA without being a commission and without government backing. And I owe a lot to Mr. Bergeron for that opportunity. Shortly after that, the Lethbridge City Council put an advertisement in the paper. They were looking for they were looking for volunteers to join the Boxing and Wrestling Commission. And I applied and I was accepted, and that's when I met Mr. Brian Janot, who has been chairman of the Lethbridge Combative Sports Commission for 15 years, 16 years now. He's also in the Hall of Fame, but in a different category. Together, Brian and I volunteered thousands of hours to put together a regulatory body which would allow competitions for mixed martial arts to occur. I did it because of the compassion, the passion I had for the athletes, the passion I had for the sport. Brian had no knowledge of the sport, but he had a sense of commitment. He had great experience with city council and with mayors and city managers and city solicitors, and that was absolutely indispensable in the development of the commission. Together, Brian and I were far stronger than either of us would have been apart, and we built something which we're both very proud of. The Lethbridge Combative Sports Commission rivals any other commission in the United States and Canada. And certainly the track record here in Lethbridge, the Rumble in the Cage, which promoter Lee Meehan has been putting on since October of 2000, is the longest running MMA promotion in Canada. And it continues to do so. And it has been able to do so because of the commission has provided the infrastructure. We've trained the judges, we've trained the referees, we've made it possible for athletes to fulfill their dreams. I'd like to thank City Council and past Mayors Tarlick and present Mayor Spearman for their continued support of the Commission. There had been a movement afoot to form a provincial commission headed very much by the cities of Edmonton and Red Deer. And our City Council and our Mayor have worked with us to try and resist that. And that's very important. Other municipal commissions in this province would claim that they're every bit as good as Lethbridge, if not better. The only thing they're better at is their fee structure. They have bankrupted every promoter or countless promoters who have tried to have the sport continue, have made it financially unfeasible for them to continue. Lethbridge is so lucky that it has people like Brian Janot, that it has the City Council, that it has an infrastructure of people who volunteer and who work to put on these shows at a cost that is absolutely far lower than any other commission rate. And that's why we continue to have a successful promoter. Calgary has bankrupted almost everyone. And so I want to thank the committee for approving this nomination. I'm extremely proud to be inducted into the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. All of the efforts I've made, everything I've done, I have been rewarded so much with the friendships I've developed, the people I've come to know, just the opportunities to do things, to travel, to have met so many people has been the reward of all the work that I've put into this. Tonight is the icing on the cake, to actually be recognized for that, and for that I thank you very, very much.
Congratulations, Bernard. Brian Janot pointed out to me tonight that it's likely that there's no one in Western Canada, if not the whole country, that's probably seen more fight cards than Bernard has, which is a pretty amazing achievement. So, and to have that kind of expertise here in Lethbridge. So very deserving. Congratulations once again. Our next inductees are in the team category. It is the 1981 Lethbridge Little League All-Stars Canadian Champions. Lethbridge Little League Baseball success in the 1970s and 80s was highlighted by multiple appearances and championships at the national level. One such team was the 1981 Little League All-Stars, who completed a memorable summer by capturing the inaugural Joe Shea Canadian Little League Championship, that's the 13-year-old division, title in Calgary. The 13-year-old tournament featured 12 teams from across the country participating in a double knockout format. Lethbridge did not make it easy on themselves, going out and losing its very first game, dropping them to the B side of the event and leaving them no room for error. From there, the All-Stars slowly worked their way back. They won games over Edmonton, Victoria, Wally, BC, and Thunder Bay. The task now facing them was to topple the undefeated Calgary Continental East team twice. In the first game, Lethbridge jumped out early, rolling to a 6-0 first inning lead and an 8-2 advantage into the 7th inning. Murray Paronto hit a pair of home runs and Bruce Huff was dominant on the mound until Calgary rallied with 5 runs in the bottom of the 7th. Huff and Lethbridge held on for the 8-7 win, setting up a true winner-take-all championship game the very next night. In the second meeting, it was Calgary who jumped out to that early lead with a 5-run third inning that put the All-Stars on their heels. Lethbridge was held hitless into the 5th before finally scratching a run across and beginning their comeback. In the 6th inning, the All-Stars scored 4 more times to knot the score at 5-5 and set up a dramatic 7th inning. Bryce Lapointe singled, stole second, and advanced to third on a fly ball. With Paronto at the plate and Calgary infield playing back, respecting his earlier display of power, Lapointe dashed home and Paronto laid down a perfect suicide squeeze bunt to score the winning run and clinch a 6-5 win and the Canadian title. Instead of the frantic rush to the plate of a suicide squeeze tonight, you can take a slow trot right into the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. We want to recognize Scott Crow, Dean Croy, the late Monty Eisenbarth, Blake Babke, Bryce Lapointe, Murray Paronto, James Hutton, Kevin Jackson, Pat Phillips, Dave Porteous, Bruce Huff, Dean Breakery, Richard Isaac, Scott Nishikawa, manager Bob Babke, and coach Ken Hutton, the 1981 Lethbridge Little League All-Stars Canadian champions.
Okay, this is the 7th inning stretch. Please stand up. Especially those guys with knee surgery like you, Bonnie Bapke. Like you. And like, where's Bill Kenny? I know he's out there. I think so. Yeah, you. Anyway, okay, sit down now. Here we go. Okay, good evening. I guess I got to talk over here, don't I? Okay. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ken Hutton. First things first, I would like to thank those gentlemen who nominated us to the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame, namely Gary Bowie, Bill Kenny, John Cobalt, Bill Parazak. I know Johnny's not here, but Gary, Bill, and Bill, would you please stand up so we could give you a clap, wherever you guys are? Thank you, guys. Without you, we wouldn't be here. Thank you. Next, I'd like to take a trip down memory lane. Bob Bapke and I, Bob's passed away now, and Bob and I played for the Lethbridge Little League All-Stars, Taggers, in 1955, coached by Steve Erisman and Garth Pilling, and won the Alberta Championship. We won many other championships and tournaments, but one of my favorites was in 1958. I opened the Pony League season by throwing a no-hitter and finishing the year as Alberta champs. In 1961, 62, and 63, Bob and I played for the Lethbridge Niceys in the Big Six Baseball League. We used to have lots of great battles with the Coaldale Imperials, and I was looking at my scrapbook last week, and I noticed on August the 13th, 1961, Bill Kenny tagged me for a home run. Why did I ask you here, Bill? My goodness. Anyway, during those years, I also played for the George Wesley Grantham White Sox, also pitched for the Lethbridge Cardinals, who were a farm team of St. Louis Cardinals. Bob Baylog from Milk River and I were the only Canadian kids on the team. Baseball's went a long way since then, hasn't it? Now I'd like to give you a look at what the boys have been doing for the last 38 years. You guys might wish you didn't get up here. Anyway. Okay, hang on. I got to put my paper clips back. Monty Eisenbarth. Monty's not with us anymore. He passed away a couple years ago. He was a great little left-hander and a great hitter. We miss him dearly and wish he was here. Bruce Huff. He's another left-hander, great pitcher and a great asset to the team at those days. He works for, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this right, Molinar Cabinets for 5 years now, and he's here tonight with his brother Robert. So thanks for coming, Rob. Next we have Pat Phillips. Pat Phillips is single, spent 15 years teaching in Surrey, BC. He's presently the principal of a school in Fort Lard, L-A-R-R-D, in the Northwest Territories. He's been out there for the past 5 years. He says he loved to be here. He loves it there. It's a beautiful country. He also said he would love to be here, but it takes a dog sled and 3 or 4 airports to get here. He says best wishes. Dean Croy. Dean lives in Vancouver. He's married with 2 girls. He's got a 13 and 16-year-old kids. He tried out for the Team Canada when he was 19. He went to UBC, spent several years teaching in Hong Kong, teaching English, and is currently a principal at an independent school in Vancouver with 530 kids registered in it. He can't make it tonight because he had to go to Regina on Monday for a school project. Dean Brikery, he lives in Parksville, BC, spent 27 years with the RCMP, retired 3.5 years ago, and is currently working in the oil and gas business as a sales and account manager. He's married with 2 daughters. He can't make it here tonight because he had to go to South Dakota as one of his daughters was on a swimming scholarship and is graduating this weekend. Hopes to come here this summer and buy us all a beer. Not you guys, just these guys, okay? Murray Paronto. Don't think Murray's here. He lives in Edmonton. He's married with no kids. His dad and brothers, his dad, still lives in Lethbridge. He followed his dad's footsteps and does carpentry work, renovations, etc. He's famous for some home runs and the famous bunt. Although his best memory of playing ball is when he used to pitch to Dean Brikeridge, he always hit him. So it's a good thing that Murray was never stopped when Dean was at the RCMP. Kevin Jackson. Kevin, you're here? Where are you? There you are. Kevin. All right. He lives in Calgary. He's married with 1 daughter. She just finished university. He's been in the steel business for many, many years, currently a project manager for a firm just outside of Calgary. His nickname for yours truly, Ken Hutton, and some of the other guys, they called me Rum Belly. Wonder why. There you go. Rick Isaacs from Edmonton. He's married with 2 boys, a junior high and one in university. I think one of the kids are here tonight. Went to the University of Alberta. He graduated, I think, as a chartered accountant. He is the Senior Financial Officer for Advanced Education for Alberta for 14 years. His dad, Walter, is here tonight from Coaldale. So anyone in the crowd there in the school system, it's a good time to meet him, okay? You can rub elbows tonight. He's a pretty important guy. Bryce Lapointe, he's married with 2 kids, a 14-year-old daughter and a 15-year-old son. He's a business for self renovator. His dad was also a contractor, and Scott Nishikawa remembers going over to your mom and dad's to decorate the float for the Hoop Up Parade. We thank you, Mom and Dad. And Dad's not with us anymore, but I know Mom's out there somewhere. For all the hard work and the use of their truck and the flatbed and the gas. I'm sure no one paid you for the gas. Bryce has been umpiring for the last 7 years. He does Little League games and the Bulls games, so you can see him there. Special note, he umpired in the Little League World Series in 2016. Scott Crow, another self-made millionaire, apparently. Married with 2 kids, 11-year-old son, 14-year-old daughter. Played ball in college in the U.S., then came back to go to the University of Lethbridge, a degree in management. He went into the investment field and has been working at the Bank of Nova Scotia for many years. He has his own office with 6 staff, I'm not sure what it is. Still has time to coach his son's team in Southwest Little League, and we appreciate his support in that effort. Next, we have Scott Nishikawa. He's married with 2 boys, still playing ball. Many years with Conair as a project manager. He still spends lots of time in the ball field. He's the president of the local team who play in the North Division of the American Legion Ball. They travel through southern Alberta, Great Falls, Lewistown, and Havre, Montana. So he's putting back also. Now we come to Blake Bapke. He's married, 3 boys, 4, 7, and 11. Sounds like a grocery store, but anyway. He's building on trying to make his own team. Now, he retired last year, made so much money in investments, so he retired, but he decided to go back to work in 2000. Oh, you didn't tell your mom that, eh? Okay, sorry. But decided to go back to work in 2019. He's opening a sports facility, which includes the 3 or 4 batting cages on 43rd Street North, and we wish him all the best of luck, so make sure you get your teams out there. He also has a part-time job. He's the president of Southwest Little League, ages 4 to 12. There's only 705 kids registered this year in his league, so good for him. Now, number 1 son, James Hutton. He's married with 2 kids. My granddaughter Ava just finished her first year in university. Grandson Jade works for his dad learning the car business. James has spent the last 15 years working for the Davis Group, the first 10 as a salesman, and is currently the general manager and owner of Ultimate Auto Detail. It's a joint venture between Bridge City Chrysler and Davis. He's got about 30 to 35 employees. They do detailing, windshields, graphics, box liners, fix hail damage, small dents.
Keep going. Keep going. Come on, baby.
All right.
Baby needs new boots.
There'll be cards at the doors, okay? Whatever you need, please see him. And I think, oops, next file. God, they got a lot of guys up here. Next, we got Mr. Porteous. Mr. Porteous is in Toronto. Both Blake Bapke and Scott Nishikawa did a great job of finding everybody after 38 years, but they couldn't find Dave. So I told them I thought they moved to Kelowna many years ago, and I would see what I could do. I contacted an old friend of mine, Norm Griesbrecht, he used to be in the finance business with me, who lives in Kelowna, and I asked him to look in the phone book or city directory, you know, the old-fashioned way, not the cloud, not Twitter, not Facebook. Yeah, help me out here. I don't know this crap. Anyway, he found three Porteous, as I was talking to Norm, he found 3 Porteuses in the phone book, but no Dave. However, I told him to look in anyway, because they might be relatives, cousins, uncles, etc. As luck would have it, one was his brother Michael, thank heavens. So 6 a.m. Monday morning, Dave woke up to a text from his brother asking him if he owed a large amount of money to somebody. Vegas, you know, golf bets, I think he likes to golf. Or do you perhaps have an unknown child you didn't tell the family about? 6:05 a.m., Dave texts back. What is all this crap? 6:10, Michael texts back. Calm down, brother. Ken Hutton's looking for you. All is well. Anyway, where are we here? In closing, folks, I say these guys have traveled a long way, and I certainly think they deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. What do you think? Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. You know, after I got off the phone with Ken when he called me back in March, I had some time to reflect back on that Canadian national tournament. Then I thought about what I would say at this event. You know, when I talk about the players, you know, arguably we had the best player, best Little League player in Canada in Murray Paronto. I mean, this kid today still holds the record for home runs. When I talk about the coaches, the lessons learned, the overnight games, the stays at the hotel, the joys of success. In the end, it was a collage of memories of a time spent with a community of people. And when I say a community of people, I don't mean just the players. I mean the parents, the administrators of the organizations, and of course, the umpires. I'm sure all of us up here could tell you numerous stories about the umpires back in the day. You know, the Parasacs, the Carmichaels, the Cobals, the Kutrins, the Bosches. The list goes on. And unfortunately, as time passes, so do people. And I want to recognize 2 people in that regard. Monty Eisenbarth. Monty was a close neighborhood friend of mine. I went through elementary, junior high, and high school with. And the sudden passing last year has left a hole in that neighborhood gang. And I can always remember Monty in those clutch moments standing on the hill with a big grin, smiling. Yeah. And I'm sure he's grinning right now as he's looking down on us while his name is being enshrined. Then, of course, there was my dad, Bob Babke. Bob was a major baseball influence for all these kids, all these men now, and of course, a major influence for me as well. I wish he could have been here tonight, to once again embrace this baseball community that we all shared. I know he's looking down and he's proud of all the accomplishments. It was the game of baseball that brought us all together, and we were pretty good. And we were pretty good because we had the community of people teaching us. My dad and Ken Hutton had a rich history of baseball accomplishments and accolades to their names, and they brought that knowledge and experience to us in those years. I want to thank you, Ken, for those times. I also want to acknowledge others in our community that have made this induction a reality. As Ken mentioned, Mr. Gary Bowie, Mr. Darrell Christensen, the Sports Hall of Fame, the organization, as well as Ken mentioned, 3 people, Mr. Bill Kenny, Mr. Bill Parasak, and Mr. John Coble. And of course, this wouldn't have been a reality without you, Mr. Ken Hutton. You know, all of you guys, all of this community has taught us a lot more than the game of baseball. You've taught us how to be good people. The 1981 Canadian Championship for the Joe Shea Division team is being recognized for the accomplishments tonight, but it's the community that deserves the recognition. So on behalf of our team, I'd like to thank the community for this. Thank you.
Congratulations once again. You had to wait a while to get in, but well worth the wait. Congratulations to the Little League champions. We are down to our final inductee, but far, far from the least. When you're classified as special, we save you for last. Being inducted in the special category is Carol Thibert. Carol Thibert's contribution to the development and promotion of sport in Lethbridge as an athlete, coach, administrator, volunteer, and supporter has been immense. A true athlete in her own right, Thibert is an active and accomplished swimmer, cyclist, runner, triathlete, and cross-country skier. She's one of only 5 athletes who has competed in all 30 Moonlight runs. She won a silver medal in cross-country skiing at the 2009 Alberta Senior Games and has competed regularly and won her age group in the Melissa's Road Race. She's also completed both the Ironman Canada Triathlon and the Penticton Triathlon. Her work with the City of Lethbridge Recreation and Culture Department from 1990 through 2015 set the foundation for her community service. In her role, Thibert was an energetic advocate for attracting a number of prestigious multi-sport events to our city, including the Alberta Winter and Summer Games, as well as the Youth, Senior, 55+, and Southern Alberta Summer Games. While at the city, she served as a key liaison for local school districts, ensuring the Joint Use Facility Agreement was administered fairly and provided ample access to city facilities for school sporting events. Outside of her professional role, Thibert continued her advocacy for sport by volunteering with numerous committees and organizations. She was a founding member of the Sports Bid Committee in 1998, which later evolved into the Lethbridge Sport Council. She helped found the Alberta Sport Development Centre Southwest and served on the board of directors. And her board involvement also included organizations such as the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame, the Southern Alberta Recreation Association, Healthy Lethbridge, and Kids Sport. At the community sport level, Thibert has been an integral part in providing quality sport experiences for people of all ages for well over 30 years. It could be argued that few people have done more to facilitate the hosting of athletic competition and the development of sport in this city than Carol Thibert. As such, it's entirely fitting that I got to call on 2019 Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame Special Category inductee, Carol Thibert.
Thank you. I'd like to say that I have sat on the Lethbridge Combative Sport Commission with Bernie. I took judo from Dr. Senda. I was third on my curling team in high school. My daughter-in-law plays baseball. My son-in-law plays golf. And so I'd just like to congratulate everybody that have achieved the things that they have in these sports tonight. I never ever accomplished anything that high, but I do know a little bit about all of them. This award means everything to me. I am incredibly flattered, and I am incredibly honored. Now, I was looking for inspiration, and this is exactly what Rick Mercer said when he was inducted into was given the Lifetime Award for the Arts. So I thought if it worked for Rick, it would work for me tonight. All I've ever wanted to do, as long as I can remember, is to be able to be active. I remember telling my mom when I learned to swim that I was going to swim for the rest of my life. Well, the rest of my life has been a pretty long time, and I am still swimming. To be clear, the activity I'm talking about doesn't necessarily mean sports as we understand them in the traditional sense, but it does mean sport as part of the continuum, as we've grown to understand sport in the Canadian Sport for Life model. I am proud to say that the amazing opportunities that were afforded me in my 25 years with the City of Lethbridge included a chance to contribute, however small, to the concept when I served on both the committees for the Canadian Sport Plan and soon after the Alberta Sport Plan. And I will always remember the moment of exhilaration I felt when I first read the completed long-term athlete development plan. From active start to active for life. That was what a sport is to me. And that is what the founders of the Southern Alberta Summer Games, celebrating 50 years this summer, and other multi-sport games that have been such a part of my life knew when they conceived these treasures. This is what the Lethbridge Sport Council and the Southern Alberta Sport Development Centre, which I was fortunate enough to be involved in when they were only ideas, through to their inceptions, embodies. This is what the thousands of volunteers and parents should understand when they support their families in their chosen sporting activities. And this is why kids' sport exists, so all kids can get that opportunity to play. Sport can and should be for life. Learning the fundamentals is a very good start, and as I join other like-minded aging athletes, I am forever grateful for the opportunities afforded us. At this time, I would like to mention my friends. We have run, biked, swam, cross-country skied, and coached soccer together, although we weren't very good. And we have formed a book club called the Swine Club, which is swimming mums who like to drink wine. So you have lifelong friends when you participate in sport. At this time, I would like to mention I've already said that. Thanks for having the imagination to believe that this ward had my name on it, and having gathered hundreds of letters in my time to garner support to deserving peoples and projects, I'm telling you that I really appreciate your mettle in gathering the letters which supported my nomination. And to that end, thank you to Susan Iman and the Lethbridge Sport Council for being so very, very helpful in executing their best laid plans. And I wish to thank those of you who took the time to write those letters. I have been deeply moved by what you said, and I cannot overstate how much I value my association with each of you. Lastly, I wish to thank the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame for continuing to provide this venue to celebrate sport in our community. And I must not forget to thank our community for being such wonderful volunteers. Nothing would be possible without you. I have relied on you a lot over the years. Now, I wish to express my appreciation to my kids, Jackie and Corey, and their partners Ryan and Carrie, for participating in my endeavors, teaching me a thing or two, and sharing your time as I pursued my passion. And even calling upon me now to share some of my skills I have accrued through my involvement in sport as you go after your pursuits. In particular, I can't say how happy I am that my grandkids, Quinn, Isla, Tate, and Wynn, are already willing participants, learning the fundamentals of sport, adopting active lifestyles, and keeping me company. And if you really need to know someone who should be celebrated tonight, it's my mom. She's here tonight. 6 weeks ago, she broke her femur cleaning snow off her step, And 1 week ago, she celebrated her 97th birthday. When she was 95, she was regularly walking 10,000 steps. And last time I checked, she has no intention of giving up an independent lifestyle. Way to go, Mom. Okay, now, thank you to my most faithful supporter, Romeo. Over the years, you have been my most dedicated I don't believe this. My most dedicated volunteer, and have seldom faltered when it was time to be voluntold to be an Alberta Games warehouse manager more than once, pursuing high-level accreditation to referee swimming, or being the lowly, much maligned results person when several of us mums took on organizing the Kids of Steel, and you were stuck in the basement trying to figure out the results. You have been a rock, and you are also a black belt in karate. I'm here tonight to receive the special award for all-round contributions to sport with Lethbridge. When I got the call from Darrell several months ago, to be truthful, I was a little embarrassed. As it has sunk in and I've been able to absorb this honor, I have been rewarded with such an enrichment of memories that I have concluded that if I have given even a quotient of what my involvement with sport and the sporting community has given me, I feel most humbly worthy. Thank you for the honor and the opportunity to reflect. It has been a wonderful journey. Thank you.
Congratulations, Carol. The only question is why it took so long to get you here, but we're glad that you're finally in the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. While most of our night has been looking at lifetime achievement and putting people in the Sports Hall of Fame, we do like to take the chance to honor the annual Kinsman Club Sportspersons of the Year. These are athletes that are still active in the sports world. The club has sponsored this award since its inception in 1995. These awards acknowledge individuals for the outstanding performance or participation in sports while representing Lethbridge over the past year. In 2007, these awards were adjusted to include both a female and a male recipient. Our first recipient tonight is Sandra Lat Race. Returning to competition in 2018 after having missed the bulk of the 2017 season due to injury, the time off did not hamper the Brooks product in the least. Competing for the University of Lethbridge in the spring indoor season and then the Chinook Track Club throughout the summer, she quickly recaptured her dominant form in the long jump and began to emerge as a national threat in the sprints. She opened the Canada West season with long jump gold medals in each of the Golden Bear Open and Bison Classic meets, while also adding a 60-meter dash gold medal at the Bison Classic. At the Canada West Championship, she again leapt to gold in the long jump and secured her first conference medal in the 60-meter sprint, earning a bronze. Latrice then capped off her indoor season by continuing her career undefeated record in the long jump, claiming gold at the U Sports Championship meet with a season best leap of 5.98 meters. That's a full 13 centimeters beyond the second place finisher. Her indoor success translated to a confident outdoor season as well. In May, Latrice won gold in long jump at the Calgary New Balance Athletics Series meet. Another gold then followed up at the Calgary Caltaf Classic, setting her up for the biggest event of the season, the Canadian Track and Field Championships in Ottawa. There, Latrice posted an outstanding 6.17 meter leap to grab the national silver medal. She would wrap up her long jump season with yet another title, winning the Sherwood Park Track Classic with a season best 6.19 meter jump. On the outdoor track, Latrice also showed she was back in top form. Now competing in the 100 meters, she claimed second at the New Balance Series event in Calgary and concluded her sprint season with a gold medal win at the Sherwood Park Track Classic. Our first 2019 Kinsman Sportsperson of the Year is Sandra Lat Race. Sandra couldn't be here tonight, but she did send along a video message, so we'll turn to that now.
Hey, I'm sorry I couldn't be in attendance tonight. I'm down in California right now. I'm training my butt off to become a better athlete, so I hope you guys can appreciate that. I just want to send out a huge thank you to the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame just for selecting me for this award. It means so much to me. Sometimes I'm out there training on the track and I'm running against 90-kilometer-an-hour headwind, and it's very motivational to know that there's members of the community standing behind me and supporting me and wishing me success. So just thank you so much for that, and it means a lot. Secondly, I just want to thank a couple other people of my life that have made me lucky enough to receive this award, and that would be my coaches, Larry Spanky and Jamie Thomas. They have supported me on and off the track for the past 4 years and have made me not only a better athlete, but a better person. Another group I would like to thank is my teammates like Aaron Hernandez, who have been just amazing to train with, very fun, very dedicated people who push me and make me want to be more dedicated and just make training feel like a success every day, even on those hard days. Finally, I just want to thank members of the university, people who have been standing behind me for the last 4 years and have been supporting me as an athlete. It's just really important to have those people in my life, and that is why I'm standing here today and receiving this award. Having organizations like this that actively support athletes in the community means so much, and just thank you guys so much for that, and please keep doing what you're doing, and I hope to see some of you guys when I get back. Thanks.
To accept the award on Sandra's behalf, please welcome her fellow U of L student athlete, Jordan Calladine. Congratulations once again to Sandra. And now our male Kinsman Sportsperson of the Year, Rob Klinkhammer. When Rob was playing minor hockey in Lethbridge as a youngster, he dreamed of possibly playing for his hometown Lethbridge Hurricanes of the Western Hockey League. He admits now he wasn't even sure that could ever happen. So when Klinkhammer received the phone call from Hockey Canada that he would be representing his home country as a member of the 2018 Canadian men's Olympic hockey team at the Olympics, he was absolutely overwhelmed. Recruited as a depth forward whose job was to provide energy and grit to the Olympic team throughout the lineup, Klinkhammer excelled. Over the course of the 6-game tournament, Klink chipped in 2 assists, played a solid defensive game, killed penalties, and embodied the never-say-die attitude of the underdog Canadian squad. Canada surprised everyone with a quarterfinal shutout win over Finland before dropping a heartbreaking semi-final game to Germany. With true grit, the Canadians rebounded to defeat the Czech Republic 6-4 in the bronze medal match and secure a lifelong memory. Klinkhammer currently plays for Kazan Akbars in the Continental Hockey League in Russia, and in 2018 cemented his legacy in the city by scoring the clinching goal in Game 5 of the League Championship Series. Never drafted, Klinkhammer has carved out an impressive professional career through hard work, determination, and attention to detail. His 4-year WHL career included 3 seasons with the Hurricanes and concluded with a 33-goal campaign as a 20-year-old playing somewhere else. Klinkhammer worked his way up through the American Hockey League before making his National Hockey League debut with the Chicago Blackhawks in 2010-11. He would play a total of 6 seasons with 5 different franchises in the NHL, totaling 22 goals over 193 career games before heading overseas. Now an Olympic medalist, he continues to make Lethbridge his home in the offseason, and on a personal note, is one of the nicest athletes that you'll ever have the chance to meet. This year's Co-Kinsman Sportsperson of the Year is Rob Klinkhammer. As I mentioned, Rob's career takes him well away from Lethbridge, so he also could not be here tonight, but he did have a chance to send us a video message.
Hi, this is Rob Klinkhammer. Sorry I was unable to attend the banquet tonight, but I just wanted to thank Darrell Christensen and the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame for naming me Kinsman Sportsperson of the Year. Hockey's taken me all over the world. I've gone to places I never thought I'd been, but I'll always think of Lethbridge as home. Every time I come back here, it feels like that's where I belong. So to be recognized by your hometown is something very special to me. I just want to thank you for the honor. Like I said, it is very important to me to be recognized by, the city that I call my hometown and, the people from there. So again, thank you very much, and I apologize for not being able to attend.
To accept Rob's award, please welcome his father, Jerry Klinkhammer. Congratulations once again to both Rob and Sandra. Tim made it a point to say you start on time. He didn't say you finish on time, so that's his fault. To close out our ceremony tonight, please welcome Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame Vice Chair Dave McMurray.
Well, what a fantastic evening. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And again, thank you to, I guess, I'm here. I'll go through the list of thank yous. There's been so many great speeches. Here I am as the caboose flubbing it up, but that's okay. I'll keep it quick, but I do want to congratulate our inductees and our sportspersons of the year. And I would also like to thank our speaker, Tim Takahashi. Thank you for taking us through the past, present, and future of judo in Lethbridge. And if there was a category for the induction ceremony MC, Paul Kingsmith would win it. He is probably one of the best MCs that I have seen, and we are fortunate to have him on our board. And so I would like to say thank you to Paul Kingsmith. Sure, we can do it. I would also like to say thank you to Darrell Christensen. Darrell is finishing up his second year as the chair of the Lethbridge Sports Hall of Fame. And he's put in a lot of hard work, and I would just like to thank him for that time. And so thank you, Darrell. I'd like to thank Feature Productions, who have these bright lights shining in my eyes here. You guys do a fantastic job every year. Thank you very much. And also, And also to Jamin Heller. I also work with Jamin, so I will throw him a shout out. I don't know if you've been following on Twitter. He is doing a fantastic job of documenting this on social media. So thank you very much, Jamin. And if you look in your programs, there are a number of sponsors that are in there. And I would like you to take time, look through there, patronize their businesses. They help put this evening on. So thank you to all of our sponsors. And I'll finish up with a thank you to our caterers here at the NMAX. It was a fantastic meal. They do a great job every year. And so let's give them a round of applause. And finally, I feel like I do this every year, but there is somebody who is just kind of ubiquitous in the presence of sport in Lethbridge, and that's Knud Peterson. You come to set up here, and says, oh, be here at this time, let's set this up, and you arrive, and it's already done. And everywhere I go, Knud is there. So I just want to give a special shout out to Knud, and thank you for all of your work that you do. Hope to see many of you here next year. Remember, we are opening our permanent site in either February or March of 2020. And so keep your eyes and ears posted for that and for our banquet next year. Thank you very much for a wonderful evening. Drive safely, and to those who traveled from afar, thank you and safe travels.
That is the evening. Have a great night. Thank you all again for being here tonight.